Representative Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Joint Resolution 8 arises from an occurrence that happens thousands of times a year in our state, and that is the taking of the constitutional oath of office by elected and appointed officers. I've seen this process and this ceremony happen probably hundreds of times now in my life, and it has been very, very frequently pointed out to me by officials at all levels of government that our oath of office does not contain the word Utah. And after much thought, and again having this point mentioned to me again and again, and then deciding that, well, maybe that won't be such a silly bill after all, I introduced this proposal to amend the Utah Constitution. Now, Mr. Speaker, I do not take lightly the fact that this will need to go before the voters. I think that we as Utahns should be proud to do so as well. And so I propose that we make this change, which of course would be on the ballot in our next regular general election, which occurs in even-numbered years. That would be in 2016. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Discussion to the bill. Representative Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute.
Motion to substitute. That's an order. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes. Well, I'd move that we substitute HJR 8 with first substitute HJR 8. This bill came before our committee and had some significant deliberations during that meeting. During the committee hearing, an amendment was offered up which brought the bill to us in its current form. Having spoken to the sponsor of that amendment, he has repented and supports the substitute which is before us. And so this substitute brings the bill back into its original form, which is a much cleaner and more appropriate form, I believe.
Discussion to the motion to substitute.
Mr. Speaker.
Go back to the sponsor of the bill. Representative Powell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Representatives, I support this. I believe that this is a friendly substitute amendment. As you'll notice, the amendment includes a very important word, Utah, and that's about all it does. And I do support this substitute version of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion to the motion to substitute. Representative Brian King.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support this motion to substitute. We were in the committee hearing and heard it. My good friend and colleague from Harriman made the motion that has caused so much consternation and heartburn. I'd like to hear him tell us what he thinks of the substitute motion.
Further discussion. Representative Moss.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ladies first.
I rise to support the substitute.
Thank you. Further discussion. Representative Notwell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I really enjoy when the good minority leader decided to call me out. It's one of my favorite things of all time. I do support the motion to amend. When I made the motion in committee, this was purely about clarity, purposely about clarity. This was not some, federalism argument. So I absolutely support it. I congratulate the good representative from Ogden, and I encourage you all to vote for it.
Thank you. Seeing no further lights, we will come back to the maker of the motion to substitute. Representative Peterson.
And just for clarity purpose, this substitute brings the bill back to its original form as it came to our committee. And thank you for your support.
Thank you. I will place the motion. All those in favor of Moving first substitute HJR 8, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. I rule that motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the deliberation and thought that many members of this body have put into this proposal. I do recommend to the voters of the state of Utah that they now see this as a small, significant, and uncontroversial change. Thank you.
Before I open the vote, let me remind this is a proposed amendment to our state constitution that would be placed on the ballot. It requires a 2/3 majority vote of this body, constitutional majority of the body. So now, with that, voting will now be open on first substitute House Joint Resolution 8, proposal to amend Utah Constitution, oath of office change. Seeing all present having voted, voting will now be closed. First substitute HJR 8, having received 69 yes votes, 6 no votes, passes this body and will be transmitted to the Senate for its consideration.